And I'll pull back here so that you can see me. I can still see you guys, so if you have to say anything, let me know. So you just take it and you wrap it around the leg, right around the ankle. Okay? Now, you don't have to use these weights, right? This is just something to add to challenge yourself, right? In fact, I suggest that if you haven't ever used these weights, I'm not saying to not use it, but to maybe take it slow, okay? Definitely don't want to throw yourself into something. And they're heavy. No, they don't hurt, but they're a little bit heavy in the sense that if you're not used to it, you're definitely going to feel the difference. And I don't want, if you don't know necessarily the poses, I don't want you to use it and then do it the wrong way, because then you're just increasing the wrongness, if you get what I'm saying. Most poses in Pilates and yoga, they have to be structured and formatted. In our particular case, when we're using weights and we're adding that into our practice, if we're doing the pose unstructured or in the wrong way and we're not getting that benefit anyway, that's my cat. Imagine doing that and hurting yourself 2 times more or 3 times more because you have on the weights. So I'm very big as an instructor about format, taking it slow, and then just increasing as you go. Okay? Just so you know, I am certified. I'm a certified yoga instructor. I've taught a lot of mat Pilates as well. And I also have my Thai massage certificate and Zumba, a Zumba license. Okay? So I do have a little bit of background, so that's why I like to share it with people so that they can bring it into their practice. So I'm going to get started. I don't know if you're doing this as well, but if not, I'm going to actually post this video on my website so you can go back to it even after the video expires on Periscope to try it. So if you're at work or you're just doing something else and you just can't do this now, definitely be able to check it out later on our website, okay? So let me get started. There we go. Whoop, should-do, bop. I think that's good. Alright, so we start out, I have my weights on. We're going to start out by coming into a tabletop position. The way we want to structure our bodies is we want to take our hands right here where the knuckle of the palm is and we press into the mat. We make sure that our shoulder is stacked on top of our elbow and stacked on top of our wrist. Okay? This is very important. We don't want to come down like this and we don't want to be hunched over like that. We want to have a nice straight back so that people could lay a cup of something on your back, right? And it wouldn't fall. On the next move, we're going to inhale and we're going to just bump up the leg. Okay? That leg is nice and straight and in line with the body. I'm pressing in from my hands for my foundation. And even though I have my weight on, my foot is kind of squeezing to help me lift up. And I'm lifting up from my core to keep the weights up on my leg. Okay? So I'm not drowning like this just because there's weights. I'm being nice and strong. Inhale. Nice big belly breath in, stabilizing the body. Exhale, just hold it and stabilize. I wouldn't say it's necessarily for warming up. I'm just kind of showing you a technique. It's not going to be the full Pilates practice. But definitely it is on the light side compared to let's say being engaged in a lot of core work. They have something called hundreds in Pilates and some of the other poses that are a lot more I don't want to say strenuous, but take a lot more muscle to do. So this is on the lighter side, but I won't call it a warm-up. Anytime we think about a warm-up, we want to think about coming from maybe child's pose and maybe doing neck rolls and some arm rolls and stuff like that, some really light stuff for the body. But this is more like we're kind of jumping in to this particular technique just to talk about toning and firming the body. Okay. Hey Cintron, thank you for coming back. you left me. All right, so we're going to come back and we're going to inhale and we're just going to bump up that leg. We're squeezing from the core, so we're pulling back. The psoas muscles are pulling back. The booty muscles, the glutes, they're squeezing. So every time I lift up, I'm squeezing up. And I'm just patting the wall. And I'm not just patting and going crazy, right? I'm like inhaling and exhaling, pat, pat. I find a rhythm, right? So if I was splashing a puddle, I'd basically be splashing that puddle. Pat, 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 pat. The key with any type of workout or exercise is to find your rhythm, believe it or not. If you can find your rhythm and format your body the correct way and do it the right way, you're going to find a lot of results. So now we can do about like 10 to 20 of them. And then what we normally do is we transition from that pose and we come into this butterfly position, right? It's a half butterfly. And we're going to squeeze up and we're going to lift up. And then when we exhale, we're going to bring the leg to mirror the opposite leg that's firm on the ground. We're not actually touching it. We inhale and we exhale. And we can do this one, I'd say about 8 times. This one's a little bit more difficult. If you're just starting out doing Pilates, maybe do 4 times, right? Do 2 more. And then 1 more. Okay? It's always good in between these poses to take a break. And even though we would do this in warm-up, we do this throughout yoga and Pilates. We do what's called a child's pose. Now, child's pose, I'll show you some variations. Child's pose, you can bring your legs apart, okay? Sitting your hips down to your heels, and then bring your forehead down to the mat and extend your arms out in front of you. You can also take your arms, if this is more comfortable, and bring them behind you. The alternative to child's pose is bringing your knees together. In front or behind, okay? So these are all the alternatives. If you are a guy, for example, you might find that your muscle is going to prevent you from being able to maybe just keep your legs closed. So in that case, you just open your legs. Also, you don't have to have your hips all the way down on the ground. If you want to do child's pose like this, you can do child's pose like this. Okay? So after child's pose, we come back out of it. Okay? And then what we're going to do is we take our bodies and we flip them around. Alright? So we come down to our side. Doesn't matter what side we're doing. We're going to send the legs out. And you can see most of my body. And then we inhale and we lift the leg up. Again, we're squeezing from the glutes, where our bodies are positioned nice and firm on the mat. And our hand is in front of us to give us balance. We don't want to close in this way and we don't want to roll back that way. We want to be nice and straight. And then we just lift up about 8 times. We lift and we lower. Sort of like there's a block in between our legs. We come down but we don't actually touch. 3. Now 4, I'm squeezing right here from this area, and I'm squeezing from the lower pelvic area. So if you've ever heard of the Kegel exercises, you can kind of think about using those exercises to help assist in allowing the leg to rise and fall. 2. Now 1 more. Now every pose that we're doing, you do both sides, okay? I'm just showing you one side so that you can learn, okay? The next thing that we do with our legs, and this helps to tone that booty, is we do the circles. Inhaling and exhaling. And I'm basically inhaling, squeezing the leg and the thigh, and then I'm exhaling and I'm releasing. But I'm holding fast to my thigh, right? It's not drooping. it's not falling. And this is why I say about the weight. The weight might be too much for you, so just take the weight off. If it's not, just keep using it and just pace yourself as you do your circles. And then of course, if we go forward, we always want to go back. Inhaling and exhaling. Do you have any questions, guys? Just let me know. And we just take it nice and slow. I'm not going super duper fast or anything like that. Of course, when we're done, we want to bring up the leg to stretch it out a little bit. We wrap our hand underneath, around the ankle, and we just bump up with the leg on the ground. I'd say about 4 times. Again, squeezing from the core. Okay? And then work it out. I'm going to show you 2 more. This is called the rainbow. You take your toe, you tap it to one side, you lift up, and then you tap it behind your foot. So you tap it in front of your foot where your toes are, and then you tap it behind. You move up a little bit so you can see it. Tap, 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 tap. Alright? You can do that about maybe the same about 4 or 8 times, depending on your level and your ability, okay? The good thing about it is if you're doing it the right way, I'd rather you do 4 good ones than 8 bad ones. Alright? Then the last one that I'm going to introduce to you for the lower body would be taking the foot, lifting it up, and then tracing it down, taking your toe from the thigh. Hi, how are you? Thank you for joining us. Lifting up, pressing down. And you could do this 4 times, going forward, and you'll see what I mean about going forward. And then you can reverse and go backwards 4 times on each leg. Now again, you can do 4 to 8 times, but really that's up to you. It's personal preference. And if you want to do repetitions, sort of like you're working out, you can definitely do it. Okay. So whatever you do on one side, you do on the other. In between, you can come down and do your child's pose. Using your big breaths in and out to breathe through the body. Okay? So, I'll show you a little bit of upper body, and then you can definitely try it out on your own. So, if you do that lower part of the body in the morning, right, you also might want to do a little bit of the upper body. These are 3-pound weights. If you just joined us, all right? Now, what we can do is we can take our hands, we can lay them out in front of us, inhale, lifting up from the core, shooting out of our hips, and then we begin to exhale and lower down, holding the weights in front of us, and come all the way down vertebrae by vertebrae. Okay? Bring our arms out towards the side, and then we inhale, and we just lift up. Exhale, lower. Lift up and lower. I would say we can do about 8 of these. Really squeeze that body, okay? So like if you're doing them, you're really squeezing that body. You're not just like this. You're literally squeezing. You see how my arms, they start to crease up? Even my knuckles, you can see the strength come out from them. So that's what you're basically doing, right? So squeeze up that body. 2, 1. Another thing we can do is we can take our weight, one weight, extend our legs out in front of us. Inhale, lifting up, and then exhale, lower. And then trace the body. Arms rise, and then using the abdomen, start to lower back. Inhale up, exhale lower. Roll back, that weight. Mind you, I got that 3-pound weight. I also have weights on my legs. And I'll do one more. And then the last thing that you can think about doing with your weights is if you're seated, right, you can take your weights and you can either keep your legs crossed or you can pull them apart. Inhale, bring the arms behind you, squeezing the abdomen, allow the hands to come up. Release the abdomen, arms come back. Shoulder blades drop down your back body. So if you want to keep your legs closed, you can keep it in an Indian style position or a lotus, right? Or if you want to get a little bit of stretch, give yourself some stabilization and some challenge in your alignment and the way you posture yourself, you can do that as well. So I would say you can do about, 8 of these as well, 8 to 10. Now I'm using 2 weights, but you can definitely use 1. This is also a posture that if you're standing, you're probably not going to see me, but oh, you did. You can do the same thing, standing. Breathing in and out. Okay? So there's a lot of other poses and exercises that we can definitely cover, right? Whew. Hot, work that out. If you have any questions, let me know. And definitely I want to thank you for joining me. Remember, this is not like a full workout. These are just key points for you to be able to maybe throw key poses for you to be able to throw into any workout. Even if you don't do a full Pilates, thank you for the hearts. Even if you don't do a full Pilates routine or yoga or anything else, regardless of what you do at the gym, you can always throw 1 or 2 of these in there, depending on what you're trying to tone in your body, what you're working on, obviously, physically. And the good part is that these are also exercises that you should be breathing to do, like breathing in and out. Like there's a lot of concentration on breath, okay? Pilates and yoga, their foundation is based on incorporating that breath into that movement. So even mentally, if you're stressed out and stuff, if you just do 1 or 2 of these poses daily, you're gonna feel the benefits, both physically and mentally. Okay. Remember the weights. The weights are great and all, but you kind of do what you feel as though you're ready to do. The other great thing about ankle weights is, say you're like really, really, really busy and you have to work all the time, but you still want to tone up your lower part of your body. You can, if your pants leg is big enough, right? Like a lot of girls, they have like work pants where they're like, I don't want to say like boot cut, but they're cut wide enough that they can slip on these weights. I'm not sure about guys' attire, but I'm sure that they might have some suits and stuff that have a wide enough ankle. You wear them and keep them on for a couple hours as you like go to work and commute and walk, and you'll start to feel the difference in your lower part of your body. Some real creative ways to just kind of kill 2 birds with 1 stone and multitask. Okay, so definitely thank you for joining me. This video can be found after it expires. We always post, unless something malfunctions, but we normally post, and that is at www.creative, creative, minds, min, is in Nancy, D is in Diamond, Z is in Zebra, yoga, yoga.com. Thank you. And I appreciate these hearts. Nobody sees the hearts when I put it on YouTube, so they think I'm crazy, but all my Periscope followers and people that use Periscope know what we mean by when we say, oh, thank you for the hearts. So it's really cool. Take care, guys.